Welcome to the Her Voice Shines podcast, where we celebrate the power, brilliance, and resilience of women everywhere. I'm your host, Shanasia Washington. Join us as we share inspiring stories and insights from extraordinary women who have found their voice and are making a difference. Together, we'll create a ripple effect, illuminating the path to visibility and empowerment. Let's break barriers, shatter ceilings, and lift each other up. In each episode, we dive deep into the journeys of women who have turned their challenges into triumphs and their dreams into reality. Whether you're looking for motivation, guidance, or a community that understands your journey, you're in the right place. Stay tuned and remember, let your voice shine. You are in the right place. You have landed at the Her Voice Shines podcast. I'm your fabulous host, Shanasia Washington, streaming from Houston, Texas, H-Town, baby. And let me just tell you, I'm coming off a Mother's Day weekend. Everything was absolutely amazing. I'm just so very grateful. When you see this, of course, we'll be much beyond Mother's Day. But to all the amazing mothers out there, just keep showing up, because these kids will try to run you crazy if you let them. But we're not going to let them do that. We're going to take some time for ourselves in this place and do what we do. We bring the most amazing women here. I am going to bring our next guest to the stage so that she can do our normal drill, which is tell us her name, where she's streaming from, and we get the magic of her story. Without any further waiting time, y'all, it's going to be a good one. I already feel the energy. Here she is. Let's bring her on the stage.
Good morning, everybody. Hello, my name is Amy Gonzalez, and I am streaming from South Carolina in a little town called TKK, which is not too far from Charlotte, North Carolina. And what an incredible honor it is to be here on this podcast. Her Voice Shines totally resonated with me when I saw it. What an opportunity to share what it is to speak one's truth, and something that I've been a part of and doing for myself for about 13 years. So originally from Brooklyn, New York, lived in Long Island, coming to the South about 2004. And it's amazing what change can do for us when we least expect it. So an opportunity arose about 13 years ago to finally step into my truth and to speak my vulnerability, and something that we as women, are we aligned? Do we speak about it enough? And it's our mental wellness. So anxiety is something that has been a part of my life since I was a young girl. And also connecting it to that feeling, right? There's so much incoming. So anxiety at the time got the better of me, and it was a precipice. It was an opportunity for me to step fully into who I am, and gave me that opportunity of the enough. So I had that choice, right? I like to relate it to when you jump into a pool and you sink to the bottom and you get to look up, and you can still feel the weight of the water on you, but you look up into the sky and you have that opportunity to decide, am I going to sink or am I going to swim? And it was the opportunity for me to say, hey, I'm going to swim. I'm going to rise. And rise, not without kicking and screaming and a lot of curse words, but I went ahead and I rose to the opportunity that I get to choose my voice. And there are so many other women out there who never got the opportunity, who are in this space, and how can I be a part of this as well? So it became my purpose and mission at that time to really reflect and decide what happens next. So it's a shift in perspective, and one that I didn't know that is offered to every single one of us. When we are in our own space, we are completely just looking in this fishbowl. But when we open up and we're able to shift perspective, we're seeing the whole observation deck of life, right? We're seeing everyone else's space. And that's a very humbling place to be. So a shift was offered, changed everything, the trajectory of my life, and became a single mom to two incredible boys, and two boys who also are on the mental wellness track. They are two amazing neurodivergent boys. And when you have kids that are on the spectrum, it just takes things to a whole nother level, but it also takes it to a level of we're all on the spectrum and we're all incredibly unique, and we all move through life in that space. So when you take a moment and you are offering yourself that pause and you breathe and you say, okay, what can I do next? What's the solution? For me, there's always a solution. There's a solution even if that solution is the pause. And you're not doing anything, but what you're doing is you're reassessing and you're realigning. So the shining part of all of this is my belief that vulnerability is your superpower. It's your opportunity to really embrace everything that's coming up. It's that generational breaker, right? You know, how we define ourselves as women, how we define ourselves as women within the community, the importance of collaborating. So when I went through this journey of divorce and deciding who I am, all these women showed up. I mean, they showed up when I was at the, getting coffee, when I was shopping at the supermarket. And though I may never have seen these women again, they offered me a bit of that light, that you keep going, that there's more of us out there than you believe, and you're much more powerful than you believe yourself to be. So those small little connections with women just kept growing and growing. And I came up with 4 major principles of how I was going to get through my day. The first one was shifting perspective, which was the beginning of everything. And then it was moving into a place of practice. You know, how do I move through my life? How do I practice life? Life is meant to be practiced. It's the doing. Then it was patience. It's a virtue I'm still looking for, but it's patience in this process. And then moving to a sense of purpose. What is my purpose for just the today? So these 4 principles is literally what got me up in the morning. And folks said, hey, where did you learn these principles? As I was talking about it to other friends. And I said, well, I just made them up myself. And they asked if you could, can I share it? Could I teach it? And I was like, absolutely, I'd be happy to. So these 4 principles became my 4 piece to piece. And it is what I do now as a women's intuitive coach or guide. And we come together and we move through these 4 major principles. And it's about asking those questions. It's about accountability. It's about really looking at ourselves in a space of, it's about the I, right? It's not selfish, it's self-care. So wanting to continue to put my voice out there, wanting to share all of this with everybody, what this is all about. So Her Voice Shines couldn't be any more of a perfect place to share all this.
I think about this platform, very intentionally, and I've told several women when they've been here in the space with me. Lots of times when I'm backstage, that means when I'm like have you guys on the screen and I'm back here letting you guys speak. It's almost like a chilling feeling to know so many obstacles that my guests have faced, and they come on the side of this podcast and they look so shiny, so bright, so powerful. I'm serious. And I'm sitting here listening to the story and unpacking it. And I'm just like, man, look at the courage, man, look at the resilience, look at all the different things. And it really does something to me in this space. What you shared to me is nothing, short of amazing. And taking that, and I said, the beautiful part of what many of my guests do, they put it back into the earth. Mm-hmm. Many people sit with it, toy with it, but that just like, you know what, I'm going to make some principles. I'm going to pour it back. I'm going to connect with women. I'm going to build an ecosystem. That's nothing small. So when we come here, we have to talk about and celebrate that, to let people know that they may think it's small, but if they just hunker down and push that forward, it can make miraculous change. And I know that to be true, just with even doing this the way that we run it. But in case you guys haven't heard, Amy has had a lot of different things. And when I went through her intake form that we use, I kind of pulled out some of these things, because there was, and you can talk about this as much or as little as you like, because there has been loss. There was your brother, the situation with your brother and him choosing to do what he did. And you can talk about that. Some infertility, some cancer, some divorce, and living through 9/11. See, when we do this thing, we walk it all the way out. We look at a holistic picture so people can see that, look, I was living life at a variety of different stages, and life hit me at different levels, right? And I had to pick up the pieces and kind of move through all these different things. And we don't talk about each kind of post enough, because that's how you know where you come in your story. All these bits of resilience that have come into this big soup pot right, to be able to live life. I want you to tell me the moment where you felt like, look, I can't keep living this way. Because before you made the 4 principles, before you got there, you're like, okay, you were living a certain way, but then you decided, no, I have 4 principles that's going to govern my day, govern my being. Where was that actual shift? And when did you decide I have to do it that way? I can't live this way anymore prior to me creating that framework?
It really was. I had my second child. He was came early. Again, infertility issues with both. I was categorized as unexplained infertility, which means had all the parts. My ex-husband had all the parts. Everything was working, and nothing was connecting. So we went along the path of IUI, which is artificial insemination, and we were lucky. We got pregnant. So I had a very, very difficult pregnancy, had preeclampsia, does a number on your system. But throughout all this, what was not really brought to the attention was, postpartum, what that does to a woman. And then already having anxiety as part of who I am just kept magnifying that. So when my second child came about 10 days early, it was induced. I know I wasn't fully, say, digesting everything, and my body literally was a ticking time bomb. So I was, lying, taking another nap, just kind of really feeling in the depths of my despair. And a voice came over me, literally, as I hear mine and yours, is the word enough. And it resonated so, so profoundly that I almost took a moment and be like, okay, that's it. I cracked, I went over the edge, but the voice was mine, and it was so loud that it was this opportunity of like, enough of this story. And when I relayed that metaphor of drowning in the pool, that's where I was. I was literally drowning in emotion and drowning with all of these questions. And that was that precipice of what do you do now? And I felt it physically, and it was like, all right, I'm gonna rise. And again, it wasn't with kicking and screaming. It wasn't with a lot of fight. I wish I threw things. Now, when I think about it, all the rage rooms, that probably would have helped, but it was this intensity. And then that was like literally the spark that lit that fuse of what was going to go after that. So that was that precipice, but it was all about mental wellness. It was about, mental wellness for self, but about women too. Like, who else is on this journey, right? Not just with infertility, but just in general, right? Why are we not talking about that? So that was that pivotal point.
Yes. And I love that, because when we give voice to it, it roots it. I mean, it's not like it's fake when it's happening, but it makes it real because you've now said it out of your mouth. You've now taken the time to actually say it, right? I think, and that's, when they talk about like healing practice, they were saying admitting is the first key to it.
Yeah.
And I'm saying admitting it out loud. And when I went through kind of my transformation, I like to say in 2020, when I started to kind of walk this thing out and I left work and do all different things, voice was such a pivotal thing for me. And I really think the reason and why I do this so clearly is because for the longest amount of time, Amy, like I literally did not have a voice. I just knew how to work. Okay. I just knew how to work and get the thing done. I knew how to, manage things. But when it came to actually being rooted and saying, oh, that hurts, or, oh, this doesn't feel good, or this, that was not a part of my story. It is now, but when they look at someone who was just so opposite of what I do now and speaking to women and connecting, shy, back of the room girl, when I used to have to speak publicly, I would feel my throat literally like close, and I would be doing this thing with my mouth. I would literally just be so bogged down by it. I mean, I had all the things to say here, right? I knew that I could say it. I knew that I understood it. I knew that I would want to communicate it based on what was going on here, but that did not translate for a very, very, very long time. This is a new walk in my life. It's still very new to people that love me. They're like, what? How are you? Who is this girl? Like,
now she's shining bright and helping others. I mean, that's and that's what I think, that's where purpose is, right? Like there came that moment, right? And there came that time, and And for others who are in this, similar space and they choose not to, that's okay. That's their choice this lifetime, right?
Mm-hmm.
However, when I'm getting chills, when we step into this and then we meet like-minded women and these, kindred spirits, it's this team. It's like, all right, we're all in this together, right? And that's really what really kept me going. When I first started this, I challenged myself to literally go to any coffee shop and I would find a woman sitting by herself and ask her if she would want to have tea with me. And 99% of the time they would say yes. And I would literally sit there and I would just talk and I would just connect. And again, whether I'd see them again or not, they had something I need and I had something they need. And that was that beginning of how much I became distrusting to then trust again and to trust other women. We talk about generational conditioning and how women are taught to compete and, not connect with your fellow woman. And it's like, what? I mean, there's so much wisdom out there when we give someone a chance and an opportunity. And then it's not about who's competing with who. It's like, hey girl, I got your back. How can I help you? Or how can you help me? And that's what really pushed me going. Because it was like, all right, I want every woman on the planet. Like, let's go, let's help each other, because that's where we grow. And that's what keeps me going, because your story matters to me. Your story matters.
It does. And you've actually answered it, because my next question was going to, really hinge on trust. And, I was going to ask you, after having so much uncertainty and things of that sort, and as a part of your healing, where did trust play a part? And I think you actually segued into that with talking about that. And I think that's really great. But I love what you said about when you would randomly go into coffee shops and say, hey, there's a woman, let me see if they want to talk with me. And it works. Now, back in December, I think it was 2 days before Christmas or somewhere in that range. I just woke up one morning and said, I'm just going to go to the streets and talk to women. It was not, girl, they be thinking my life is also planned and play. It don't be. I just...
Dang it, I wish I saw you on the street. I would have ran up and
I was dressed up, and like most people, I literally dressed up like I was going to an actual event. And I said, well, hey, you have an hour and 30 minutes. Whoever comes and wants to say something, they'll say it. We're not forcing it. We're just going to do it. And I'm talking and saying this, and I'm so happy we are doing this, because that means I need to do it again. And I still haven't posted. I think I only posted one of those videos. I ended up getting, I think, 9 or 10 women that actually recorded with me on that day on the street. And I said, well, we're just going to pick a point. I'm not going to make this be really random. I just picked it around confidence. I said, how confident are you? I said, where did you get your confidence mindset from? And, how confident are you? And of course, we got a lot of no's, because people thought I was selling something or doing. I'm like, okay, fine. It is 2 days before Christmas. People are in the hustle and bustle as well with shopping and things of that sort. But I can tell you something miraculous happened on those streets. And I need to clean those videos up so I can actually post them. It's like in May now, and I've been sitting on these beautiful videos.
I would love to.
And I have the footage and everything. I actually met a mother and daughter team at the end. My last 2 interviews, they were coming out and they had all these bags and stuff. And I said, hey, would you just like to have a conversation with me about confidence? And she's like, huh? And she was like, oh my gosh. She's like, I thought you dressed so nice. Like, you're out here talking to women. Like, she couldn't really wrap the dynamic around it. And the mother and daughters, the mother was like 74 years old, I believe. The daughter was in her early 50s. And just in that short time, both of them had admitted something that they never knew about each other.
Wow.
Mother and daughter. And I got to go back and watch it because it was just so beautiful. And she said, Mom, I never knew that. Because the dad had recently passed away. It had been some years. And the mom said that even after all that time being married to her father, being a mom, being a grandmother, that when her husband died, she went through identity crisis. And mind you, she's like a 60-something-year-old woman at that time, saying that, it had always been tied to them as a couple. And they had always went out and done all these things. You understand? Yeah. And this is and this is her daughter. Her daughter had never heard her mother say anything like that.
Yeah.
that, she's like, I miss my husband so much every day. We've been together since we were, teenagers. And so that was, pretty much this package deal. So when he left, I had to figure out, like, what do I want to do with the rest of my life? Like, how do I stand? And she's like, Mom, I never knew. And they cried right there on the street. We were right in front of Ross. We were right in front, 2 miles from my house. We were right in front of the store. And people were stopping and looking like, well, what's going on here? But it made me really understand, like, how much people really need that human touch and that human feel and the asking of that. But it was something so random, Amy. I literally woke up. If you would have asked me in October or November, you're going to be on the streets talking to women, I would have been like, what? No. I literally woke up on December 23rd and said, I'm going to go have some conversations.
Okay, so I don't believe in random. So I think that was divinely given, because in that moment they needed you, right? And that to me is the brilliance of how this works, right? You had a call for self, like your inner soul and self was like, girl, it's enough, right? And then so you stepped out, and then now you're speaking, and then you offered an opportunity to these 2 amazing women. And then to hear the daughter say, hey, I had no idea. That they're leaving there. I got chills again. They're leaving there with something they didn't have before they went shopping, right? And to me, that's why this is all about, and why the biggest thing I talk about is being human is brave. Like, if you got up in the morning and you decided, hey, today's the day I'm going to start going out and randomly speaking to women, you are stepping into your brave. And that correlation is what literally is sparked this whole thing about when I say the word brave on, right? You're stepping into your brave. And brave is an energetic acronym. It's a bold, resilient, authentic, vulnerable energy that you step in, that each and every one of us steps in when we choose ourselves.
Sure.
Quick thing, we talked about my brother. My brother decided to take his own life when he was 19 years old. And that was right before 9/11, about a couple of years. And that literally, I would say, was the beginning of me going inward and staying there for a long, long time. And that that awakening, the enough, I'd say I had amnesia for the 20-something years prior to that, right? So what is it that we have in our lives that gives us that switch? Because ultimately, mental wellness is also spiritual wellness, physical wellness, emotional. It is all connected. And then that's that other level of, okay, what we need each other to get there, right? We need someone else to help talk it out and get it out of us, right? Even if it's that brief moment that you had with those 2 women. I hope you put them out, because I want to see them. I love it. I love it. Yeah. And that's what I love about doing podcasts. That's what I love about connecting with other folks, is that, you know what? We may not have the same circumstances, but we can relate to the same emotion, confidence, loss, joy, we could all relate. So bravo. I want to see it.
It was really good. I mean, and I said, oh my gosh. And these women, just a variety of different things across those like 9 stories. I mean, it was like, and I tell people, like, when I do this, I get like an honors course to life. I get to live a lot of different experiences or live it through the perspective of who's telling the story. Yeah. So I say that stories are bridges, and I will always believe that because I would have never had that lens of context had you not had the conversation with me. And I was just telling my last guest from Friday, I said, look, I find myself in conversations random. I could be on the plane, I could be anywhere. And I find myself so deeply rooted in conversations that they looking like, hey, are these people friends or like what? We're sitting here talking for hours because it's something so deeply human about it. That because I've been able to have a variety of conversations, see viewpoints, like in that moment, it's just like, look, I'm human, you're human. We're just gonna have a conversation. Like there is no judgment here, and let's just talk. And people's like, oh my gosh, I feel like I've been knowing you for like ever. Like I've never even said that to my wife or my brother or anybody. Yeah. And I take the gift. It can of course be a training gift, but I take the gift in stride and give people that space to do that because it becomes like that outlet. But it also makes me that much more emotionally intelligent, that much more connected, and just really that much more connected with my story and how it impacts the overall cycle of the ecosystem that I attract. So I try and show up just like this, Amy. Wherever I go, it's just like this. because I know, and I'm finally at a place to where I can stand in this, Amy, and be proud. If it's too much, find less. I'm okay with it. Do it. But this is who I am. This is my core. This is how I operate for whatever space and time that I have left and where we operate in of life. This is how it will go down. And I'm okay with what comes or what has to leave because of the choice. That's all I want to say on that. But
Well,
I want to ask you on the other end of this, why do you think it's so hard for people to fully step into their humanity? I think that sometimes when I talk to people, I say, you do realize you're a human, you're not a robot, right? And they'll laugh at it and they get a response out of them. But why do you think it's so hard for people to actually embrace humanity for what it is?
Great question. And I love it. It's two things for me: scripted realities. Each generation is born into a space where you're given this script, and this is what you need to follow, right? All these should haves and musts. You must do this. So we are not in a space where we can shift perspective at the time, because this is the script you're given. And then there's an opportunity that each and every one of us has to say, hey, wait a second. This is generational conditioning, right? My parents are only doing what their parents did, and so on and so forth. And when you are offered that space to, hey, well, this doesn't resonate with me, this doesn't make sense, then there's that precipice, there's that shift of, it's not hard or difficult to connect with another person. It's we made it so. We have decided, well, I can't speak my voice, or I can't, connect with this person, or I'm going to be so inundated what we see in an age of social media, of just media in general, that it's instilling fear in us to not trust our fellow human. So people don't. If you give yourself that 1 second, because in the end, they also don't want to live in fear. So when you're out there and you are talking to someone, it's almost like that, what, this person's asking me a question, and that's breaking it immediately. To me, my perspective is that you broke that moment of, I'm going to keep everything to myself. And there's a platform, and we're holding space for another human. And it's, to me, that's the magic. And they offered what they offered to you. So to me, that fuse is already lit, and it's going to continue, because how wonderful it was that they got to share something with another human without any strings attached. And to me, that's where we all are now in a different conscious way of thinking, is that we are returning back to trusting one another, because we need one another. And that's what I'm going to continue to do, is be the person that's going to go up to them and give out the energy of, hey, man, I would love to just hear your story, or let's just talk, or let's just be human together. So that's where I believe everything started, is fear, is literally fear.
I love it. And she said, let's just be human together. And I think the closer we get to just that simple statement, really the better off we will be. I'm serious, because I know it's simple, but like, we're all human.
But it's not.
I know.
Yeah.
Seems like you're saying it, but if people really got that, like, down in their spirit, like, it would be a different place. We are all on this path of life. We don't know what's coming next. We have been born into things that we had no control over. Correct. We are all living and working it out, and people just don't see it like that in the conversation. So if you can just tell somebody and say, let's just be human together. Let's just, let's just sit here and know that we're on a path of life and things are going to happen, but let's just walk it out together. Each one, reach one. And that's why
I tell people, I said, you know what? If we don't, we're all good down with the ship. We're all in it together. So you know what? You have a choice. You absolutely have a choice. And that's it. Every human has a choice. And you choose to participate in your life, or you don't. Because if you don't, life's going to go on without you. Sun's going to rise and set constantly. So brave on, everybody.
Let me ask you this, because if there's someone that perhaps they may feel disconnected in themselves right now, give us one small step that they can take to kind of start to gain a little bit of peace and self-trust, maybe, because we have a lot of people that's disconnected, Amy. A lot of people that just feels disconnected in self and core. What would you tell them as a small step to start moving toward?
First thing is acknowledge that being human is brave. That if you choose to get up every morning, put your pants on, take a shower, that's it. Your day is done because you have chosen to step into your life and you've chosen to step into your brave. That's it. Again, some people may say it's simplistic, but it's not, because being human has so many facets to it. So when you connect to just that space of I'm going to choose my life today, then you're golden. And then everything that happens after that is the space of your choosing. And always take a breath, right? Take a breath. The more we hold it, then the more we're not seeing, we're not speaking, we're not being in our person clearly. So that's the first thing that I would say to someone is just acknowledge you're being brave. You're being human. That's it. And then start there.
And it's such a small step, but a powerful one, because that admission, now when we talked about this earlier in the interview, that admitting that it's going to take some bravery, is being human is brave. And I don't care about the life, the status, the bank account, any of that. Just being human is brave. Okay.
Yeah.
And even now, now because we podcast and we do it regularly. I literally have people say, well, I don't think I have enough. Like, what are we going to talk about on your podcast? And they feel so small in the world. I said, have you seen my interviews, girl? I pull out anything out of anybody. So you better come on.
Because it's there. It's there. And
because you're thinking what you have is so small, but you never know who's on the end of this conversation.
Absolutely.
You just never know. Like I have sometimes episodes that are so old and people will see those and that'd be the connection point. I said, so I can't afford to stop. I said, because the one today may not be the one that lands tomorrow. It could be the one from 2 years ago that someone finally sees or is up scrolling at midnight, can't sleep, and finds that. So I don't have the luxury to stop and be like, oh, it's okay. You don't have anything else to put in the store. It doesn't work like that. This is a forever continuing journey. 1 foot in front of the other, 1 foot in front of the other, minute by minute, sometimes second by second, if you're careful. Sometimes it gets like that in life.
And I'm grateful that you're here, because it's folks like you that are offering these podcasts, that are offering these platforms to have other women come out and speak their voice. And like you said, it could be 2 years, 3 years ago. It just takes one. It just takes one episode for someone to listen. And it just is a wave of acknowledgement of like, she is speaking my story. She is telling me something that I have withheld, that I've swallowed down for years. And that is that break. And it's absolutely brilliant, and why I will continue to do this and share as much as I can.
Now, Amy, I want to make sure that our listeners have a place to connect with you. I want you to give a 1, 2, 3, maybe 4-liner just about your overall mission and, maybe what you're offering, and then give us some great connection points so that we know where to find you should someone want to reach out.
Okay. I am an intuitive, like I said, women guide. So you can find me on my website, which is helloamygonzalez.com. And I do sessions, either one-offs or as long as you need it to be. We could do them Zoom, and you could do them here if you live in the the local Charlotte or South Carolina area. And I also work at an incredible shop in Charlotte called the Bag Lady, where I am there, and you could come visit me there. There is an opportunity just to be with yourself as much as you can, listen to that brave, and know that I'm not far away. So if you need me, I am here.
And be sure to reach out if you need Amy. Don't be afraid. Go ahead and reach out.
I'll talk your ear off.
She's gonna welcome you just like this. I gotta tell you, Amy, I'm so happy that you came. I told her when I started, and I shared with the guests, like when I record these, sometimes it's not this cute in a box type form. I was trying to commit to this. I said, if you have 2 or 3 days, May, June, July, whatever 3 or 4 days, 2, 3 days come out in the wash, that's what happens. So sometimes when I go and grab my guests, it's kind of like this mad dash, like I need it by this time and get a turnaround. But in that, I'm always very, very aligned in my thinking that the right people will show up. And Amy has proven to be that. So I don't teeter in that process. Whatever comes out, I am very confident that he sends the right people at the right time. So for you to be here and do it the way that you did, and us having lots of synergies in the type of work that we do and put into the earth, I have to tell you, thank you. I do not take it lightly. This platform means a lot to me. I really try to encourage my guests to stay forward in their mission, but also give them a time here to share whatever they need to share in an authentic way. And we really feed off each other's energy. Now, this is the part of the show, Amy, where we cue to our guests for their final thoughts. We ask them to give us some great parting words for this space and really something that captures the essence of the Amy Gonzalez. I'll be over to you for final thoughts, and then I'll be back to close the show.
Thank you. My final thoughts are this: we're never alone. We each have each other. And I will reiterate again, being human is in itself the bravest act of all. You have it, I have it, and we brave on. And brave is the bold, resilient, authentic, vulnerable energy that you step into everything, every single day. So vulnerability is your superpower. You are your own superhero. And if you see me out and about, don't run away. I'm going to come find you, and I'm going to give you a tremendous brave on. So I wish you all a most fantastic day, and always keep shining your light.
Always keep shining your light. What a perfect thing to say on a podcast such as this. Everyone that's out there in the Her Voice Shines podcast land, I always have to thank you so much for even tuning in with us and choosing this podcast to even listen to. Like the folk in church say, I love you. Ain't nothing you can do about that. But you're welcome to come back next time for another amazing woman here on the Her Voice Shines podcast. Until then, we love you and we're out.